guys arrives at the venue. Without any delay, I request honorable panelists to join us on stage. To start with, the moderator of the session, Shri Amit Sharma, Special Secretary, Government of Jammu Kashmir, to kindly join us on stage. A round of applause for the dynamic officer, Special Secretary, Government of Jammu and Kashmir, Shri Amit Sharma. Then I will request Shri Krishna Bajpai, Director, Department of E-Governance, Government of Karnataka, to please join us. I think we should continue the applause, the claps for our eminent speakers. Though it's the last session, but energy will be the same, I guess, in this session. Then I invite Shri Muhammad Akbar Wani, Chief Executive Officer, Jammu and Kashmir E-Governance Agency of Government of Jammu and Kashmir. We have our speakers from Goa also, Shri Amaya Abhyankar, who is Director of Tourism, Government of Goa. Sir, you are welcome on stage. We have Srimati Neela Mohanan, DM of North Goa with us. Ma'am, I request you to join us on stage for this discussion on an era of mGovernance. And over to you, Shri Amit Sharma. Maybe from there also.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We know it's a tough ask to hold you back. It's probably the last panel discussion we are going to have. But we'll try to keep you interested. Probably one reason is the topic is like that. The age belongs to mGovernance. And secondly, I believe you are in waiting for the Union Minister of Railways to come in and have his word upon a lot of things. And probably I can tell you for sure, whatever he will discuss, some things relating to mGovernance will definitely come out from his kitty as well. Because in any ways, as the topic rightly says, mGovernance era, so future lies with mGovernance. So already we are aware about the fact that the systems are heading from e-governance era to mGovernance era. The times are moving very fast, and a lot of things which are happened over the years. There have been certain things which relate to the governance models which have emerged over the time, over the years, and now it's a bare fact that mobile has become the need of the hour, or the most available, easily accessible thing, which is with almost everybody out here. And the biggest thing which basically attracts people all across the globe towards usage of mobile technology, as well as heading towards the governance model related to mobility, is basically the scalability, the reach, the ease with which a common man can access it, the economy, and the penetration. We these days are interested to take administration at the doorstep of a common man. Right from the beginning, it has been the perspective, but mobiles basically have become the tools through which we actually can give it a more practical shape. The idea is to have this kind of availability and the comfort level of the users that earlier we used to call it click of a button. Now we can say that just with the press of something, a finger on a tab or something, or on a phone, we can get the services. And that is what I believe services all across the country are focused towards. In various mission mode projects, through various channels, we are heading towards this kind of times. The days are not far when for sure every government application, e-governance application, will have an M face. We were just discussing in a short while ago in the pre-discussion kind of thing, and we were becoming aware of the fact that every government, even Goa government, is taking a lot of initiatives so far as shifting over the base to M models are concerned. Details definitely my fellow panelists will be throwing light upon about the whole thing, but the convergence is the need of the hour, and we believe that much lighter platforms, much easily accessible platforms, and all user-friendly packed platforms are required. These days we call them Android-based applications or iPhone-based applications or RIM-based applications. These are basically the things which we are looking towards in all government departments which are targeting towards mobile, creation of mobile application websites. So in between, we'll be discussing a lot of things, how mGovernance has to go ahead and what are the challenges which different states are facing. It's not that easy, we all know it. It's a big challenge. Actually, every step involves a lot of things. A lot of awareness has to be created, a lot of things have to be done. So without taking much time about how to go about it, we will conclude at the end that how things are to be done. I would invite my fellow panelists to start the discussion. I would start with Srimati Neela Mohanan, who is collector of North Goa. Madam will discuss about how she is doing things at the collectorate or in her district, how applications are being devised or how mGovernance base is being built in her particular area of activities, and how it can help the common man, especially the people of Goa who belong to this area. And I believe North Goa holds a prominent position so far as Goa state is concerned. So over to Madam. Yeah, please.
A very good evening to my fellow panelists as well as all the distinguished people who are here for attending the session. I would like to just speak about some of the initiatives which have been taken up by the Revenue Administration, specifically about my experiences in Collectorate North Goa. To my mind, e-governance and mGovernance are very closely associated, because unless you have a proper e-governance platform, you cannot possibly have the full potential of mobile applications or mobile-based services. Therefore, the similar model was adopted for extending the revenue administration services to people at the village level, as well as people who are accessing various types of services from the collectorate. As you will appreciate, the collectorate deals with a huge number of applications on various matters. There are certification-related applications which come in huge numbers. Of course, Goa being a small state, naturally the number of applications is not too high, but in comparison to a typical department, we have a lot of daily interface with members of the public, especially at the village level, because everybody requires a residence certificate, an income certificate, a caste certificate, etc. at some point or the other. So that is one aspect which we chose to make more accessible as well as more easy to avail of for the citizens. Then the second aspect that I'll be talking about is how we have chosen two particular revenue administration, core revenue, land administration related functions, that of partition of land and conversion of land, also for extending e-governance as well as mGovernance. So without taking too much time in lieu of introduction, I would like to first start off by talking about some of the main features of what we call the village level service delivery system. This was a system which was started by my predecessor in the Collectorate North Goa, through which we chose to extend our reach right up to the Talati offices. Most of you might be aware, but for the few who may not be aware of the revenue administration structure here in Goa, we have the collector, the additional collectors, deputy collectors at the subdivision level, and then we have the mamledars and the talatis. The talati is actually the cutting edge revenue official who is present at the grassroots level. We thought that instead of members of the public having to travel all the way from their villages or their particular locations to the mamledar office to apply for an income certificate or a residence certificate or a domicile certificate, anything like that, we thought that it is better to reach out to them through the talatis, since the talatis are present in every village panchayat. And one thing which really helped us is that in Goa we have a last mile internet connectivity. We have the Goa broadband network, which is a huge boon to every department which expects to reach out to the grassroots level. So connectivity is not a huge problem here in Goa. So we had a system of the GBBN already being in place. All that we had to do was harness its strength, develop a software and implement a system whereby people could access the services from the village level. For that purpose, we approached the Goa Electronics Limited, GEL, and they developed the software based on a software platform which they had already developed for the district administration, namely e-revenue. They added on this additional service onto this platform called e-revenue. Basically, in very brief description, what it meant is that the applicant or the person who wanted to apply for a particular certificate had to go only to the Talati office, fill in the application, which would be then uploaded by the Talati onto the system of the Mamledar, and the Mamledar would then access the application, check whether the documents were all in place, because the Talati would also upload the most essential documents which were required for processing the application, and then issue the certificate in the most expeditious fashion and send it back online to the Talati, who would then take a printout and hand it over to the applicant. So this really helped us in cutting down the transaction time required for processing the applications. It cut down a lot of time and energy for the applicant as well as for the Talatis, who would formally collect the physical forms and then take it to the Mamledar's office, say once in 2 weeks or so. In this, we have an instant system of transmission. When there is an urgent case, for instance, let's assume it's the time of school education and somebody requires an income certificate or a residence certificate, there have been many occasions when my Mamledars have instantly got a phone call from the Talati saying that there's this urgent application which has been uploaded, and within the duration of a few hours, they have processed the application and they have sent the certificate. This is provided all the documents are in place. So we found that this village level service delivery system was really helping us in reaching out to people and really cutting down the transaction time, as well as the number of visits that they had to pay, the number of trips that they had to make up and down from their villages to the Mamledar office, etc. We began it in two of our talukas in North Goa district, but I'm happy to announce that we are now poised to expand it to all the remaining talukas of the district. In the coming month, we have already got approval from the government for procuring the hardware. The orders are placed. In the coming month, we'll be expanding this system of village level service delivery to all the talukas of the district. We feel that this will definitely be a good step forward. Now, where does mGovernance come in here? This is only about the e-governance part. The mGovernance part is that at every stage of the processing of the application, SMSs are generated and sent to the applicant. That is the way the applicant can stay at ease that his or her application is being taken care of, despite the fact that he or she is not constantly approaching the office. So the SMSs help in letting the applicant know about the status, and it also, in a sense, gives us a sort of timeline to work with, because we have fixed very well-defined time limits within which, the maximum time limits within which the services need to be provided. So this was the village level service delivery system. Now I'll quickly move on to the single window for partition and conversion. The single window for partition of land is something that we launched in the month of January. The Honorable Chief Minister of Goa inaugurated this service. And again, we chose to first begin it in 2 talukas, but now, just as recent as in April, we have expanded it throughout the district of North Goa. In its essence, the service is about facilitating a person who applies for a partition of land, which is something which is required for any sort of basic dealing with land, because if you have a larger plot of land, you subdivide it, you need to get it partitioned. So that partition is very significant, and lots of people have had to wait for quite a number of months. 8 to 10 months at the minimum was the processing time that we observed. So we felt that there is definitely scope here to cut down on the transaction time and make the service easily accessible to the public, because we also found that in addition to coming to the deputy collector or the deputy collector's office, they also had to go to the Directorate of Survey and Settlement, which is a different department, because the last step of this process concluded with the survey department doing its survey and submitting its report. We again approached GEL to devise the software for us, and they devised the single window system, which we then made applicable to both the Revenue Department for our own collectorate in the Deputy Collector's offices as well as the Directorate of Survey and Settlement. Again, what we have found is that the transaction time, which was 8 to 10 months at the least, as I mentioned, has been cut down to 3 to 4 months. If the case is uncomplicated, if all the documentation is in place, we are able to process a case within 3 to 4 months. So this again has resulted in a huge saving of time, but more importantly, it has reduced the number of visits that the applicant has to make just to follow up his or her application status. Previously, we had instances of people coming multiple times just to follow up and see to it that their file moves on to the next stage. Now, again, similar as is the case with the village level service delivery, what we introduce is a system of SMS-based information. So at each and every step of the application, the applicant is informed about the progress. So that there are about 7 to 8 significant steps in the entire process of partition. I'm not going into the details, but at each of these steps, the applicant gets the information right there on their mobile number, which we capture at the time of the initial application itself. It is part of the information that the applicant needs to fill in. And there is a unique number which is generated at the time the application is inwarded, and that is immediately communicated by SMS. And the next step for us is, of course, that a citizen should be able to access the service online and find out the status. We are working on it. Right now, we are sending SMSs. We intend to start the service whereby they can just enter that unique ID and find out the status as well. Similarly, once we saw the success that we were able to achieve in terms of increasing public ease of accessing the service as well as reducing the transaction time in partition matters, we decided that the next step would be to expand the system to conversion. Conversion of land is again something which people do spend a lot of time, including people from the industry, spend a lot of time trying to get done. So it's in fact one of the points which is part of the ease of doing business agenda. So we thought about what we could do in order to make conversion less painful and more smooth. And what we discovered is that we could apply the same system because we had the connectivity issue solved, it was sorted out. We decided that we would again have a single window for conversion. So we are right now poised to introduce a single window for conversion in the next couple of months. We have the software ready. We are just in the process of training our staff and probably also getting a couple of government approvals because there are more than one department which is involved here. I would like to wrap up with just this one point, that apart from the obvious benefits that I have already described of decrease in the transaction time, ease of access, there are also two very clear benefits out of the e-governance stroke mGovernance models that we adopted. One is that there is definitely increased transparency because there is very close monitoring of each application. On my desktop, I can currently access the details of each and every partition case, and I can know why one particular case is not being taken forward. So it really leaves no room for any discretion at the level of the revenue authorities. At least, yes, it's a quasi-judicial function, but at the level of processing, there is not much discretion which is there. Then the second clear benefit is that there is a good convergence which we are able to achieve amongst departments. As I described in the partition system, we needed convergence with the Directorate of Survey and Settlement, which we were able to achieve. In conversion, we required it with the Town and Country Planning Department, with the Forest Department, as well as with the Survey and Settlement. So this is something that we have worked out. We are planning to install the same software in the departmental hardware of these departments so that we have all the conversion applications across departments being treated equally on the same platform. So the experience so far in North Goa district, I can definitely vouch for, is that we have been able to definitely improve the quality of services as well as the cutting down in the transaction time, and we have got very positive feedback from the public so far. We intend to take this agenda forward. The future for us, the future plan is, of course, to make app-based services, the same service. We have the setting in place. We just need to have an application. So, for instance, somebody could access the certification service just through a mobile application. So, this is a way in which I think mobile mGovernance is going to come in handy for us. So far, of course, we have used mGovernance only to the extent of making our services SMS friendly. We have been reaching out to the public with information through SMS. Thanks a lot, and looking forward to questions. Thank you.
I believe Neelaji, you have given a wonderful perspective of how a beautiful model, how a district can undergo a metamorphic change if you want to bring about changes, whether it is E or M model. That's definitely a platform has to be given. So very rightly pointed out by her that E models are already in place and M models are in the pipeline. And specifically, SMS gives a very good opportunity. SMS-based services of the M models are very, very successful across the globe. Even there is one application in Africa, African continent, Kenya, M-Pesa. You guys must have gone through that. So that's purely SMS-based service. But then it's all money-based economy which is getting transacted through this kind of thing. One thing is very much sure, we all must understand, mobiles have become such an important ingredient in our daily lives that we can't live without it. Whether we are in the offices or in the meetings or conferences or anywhere, we don't usually miss out looking at our mobiles every off and on. It's not just a hobby, but definitely we are doing something creative when we are doing it. Maybe we are transacting some business, we are looking at a mail, we are looking at an SMS, or maybe sometimes not even that, maybe some transaction we are going through. So that's one aspect of it. Like mobiles have become part and parcel of our lives now, and it is now inevitable revolution in the making. And as very rightly pointed out by Madam already, that it leads to boundary breaking. The services can reach anywhere, anytime. That data accuracy and timeliness has increased to a great extent with its usage. Obviously, she very rightly pointed out, I also have handled revenue earlier, and we all know that how much rampant corruption happens, whatever you do in revenue department. So this is one of the best ways to bring transparency. Then you have a connected government. Then there is very, very good increased and improved channel of stakeholders interaction which happens through mGovernance. It leads to affordability also. You don't require to have big gadgets and all that. USSD based services like SMS and all are very, very cheap, which even a commoner can actually utilize to post a complaint, to go through a helpline and such kind of things, some interactive services. And it is obviously an alternate and wider channel of G2C engagement, especially with the people. And it is basically a model of e-readiness, a launchpad for e-government, we would say. And it fills infrastructural gaps and really helps to reach to the last mile. That is the common man. So there are a number of things which have been addressed through M models of e-governance, especially which talk about inclusive governance or reaching out even to the gender divide. Maybe it addresses to that too also to a great extent, even tribal and minority inclusion and even regional divide, everything. So mGovernance gives you a very, very wide platform to operate. So carrying our discussion from here onwards, I would now shift over the discussion and hand over the mic to Mr. Mohammad Akbar Wani, who will make a small discussion or presentation standing on the dais, and he will talk a little bit about, he belongs to my state, and our state is also launching itself very fast into an era of mGovernance and beginning with the base and the foundation of e-governance. And coincidentally, Mr. Wani, he is heading e-governance. He is the CEO of e-governance agency in J&K. So he'll throw much light upon how we are going about it in J&K. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Before putting some light on the subject that is mGovernance, I may supplement a little bit achievements made on account of e-governance on the ground in J&K state and the challenges which we are facing here. You know all that ours is a state which faced the past 20 years of unfortunate militancy, and everything on the ground has turned a bit shabby. For the government and administration in this scenario, it is very difficult to maintain both the sides, that is, the developmental activities and the counter-militancy operations. Still, I should say we are not far behind than other states. I agree we might be slow, but we are optimistic that by the grace of Creator of this universe, we will move ahead and definitely we shall be among the toppers, inshallah. Our state have a different topography and is broadly divided into 3 different zones. One is Jammu, and then second Valley of Kashmir, and third Ladakh and Kargil. All these regions have different climatic conditions, particularly during winter session. Around 60% of the state remains cut off from rest of the country. Despite these challenges, KE Governance Agency established some 5 years back under the umbrella of Information Technology Department, made many achievements in e-governance. A little glimpse, keeping in view the time into consideration of all the achievements for you. In SSDG, that is State Service Delivery Gateway, as many as 30 services have been developed, out of which 6 services have gone live. In e-district, 25 services have been identified for 9 departments. And as per the review taken by the Honorable Chief Minister of J&K, we have been targeted to add minimum 100 services in next 2 years. For this quarterly review shall be taken and all the services shall be inaugurated in a timely manner. City Data Center along with your site is in live since 2013. And instructions have been circulated to all departments by the Honorable CM to move all e-governance related applications which have been developed by them to the state data center. For all citizens to get a benefit through e-service at the doorstep, as many as 1,109 common service centers, locally known as Khidmat centers, have been established throughout the state. Similarly, we have e-assembly, which is a replicated model of Rajasthan Assembly. It is complete, however, certain customization as per the requirement of J&K state is to be done by the NSC. Since I have already talked about the state was being hit by militancy, therefore we have another project of e-prison, where all data of the prisoners will be linked to the e-courts and CCTNS, means crime and criminal tracking network system, which is already operational in our state data center. We have another service of DBT, that is a direct benefit transfer scheme. Before highlighting, I want to share some personal experience with you. In fact, it was the year of 2012 when I was posted in district of Kupwara, one of the most volatile districts situated near Pakistan border. I have an opportunity to visit a village just near the border known as Dadpura, a small village having population of around 1,500 to 2,000. I was shocked to learn that there were more than 400 widows in this small village. Basically, Dard is a particular community, a typical Aryan race who are scattered throughout the state. यहाँ दर्द पूरा का मानी वो दर्द नहीं है जो अक्सर बोला जाता है, जैसे जख्म का दर्द, जिस्म का दर्द, अपनों को खोने का दर्द, लेकिन हालात ने इस दर्द को हकीकी दर्द में तब्दील किया. Neither there was any role of government in it, nor that of the militancy, but there was something internal which has led to this type of devastation. I asked a local man about what had happened actually. He replied me with a typical ghazal sung by great singer Ghulam Ali. कैसी चली अब के हवा तेरी शहर में बंदे भी बन गए खुदा तेरे शहर में. Means when when everybody had turned to God, such things happen. Keeping a similar pen into consideration, that is the problem often faced by our old age pension beneficiaries. Often one can see them waiting in long queues just to check the amount they are receiving through the banks. We have developed our own application through NIC known as Direct Benefit Transfer Scheme, DBT, for which no funding has been received from anywhere. An entire arrangement has been made out of the agency funds as a respect to elders and mitigate the sufferings they are having. So far, 16 crore pension amount has been transferred through the modem of the scheme. There are a number of other initiatives like e-courts, e-treasuries, EPDS, that's automation of CFED, automation of Forest Department, automation of Jungle Development Authority, and of course, one of the great applications which we have here, that is Siemens Grievance Cell, extra. We have a program like other cities, that the concept of smart cities for this Srinagar and Jammu or on top priority, accordingly free Wi-Fi zones for which top priority shall be given to the important resorts like Wahlagam, Gulmarg, Mata Vishnu Devi, etc. But all these have no meaning unless and until we are in a position to link them to common citizens. As far as mGovernance is considered, it means the services developed under e-governance should be at the fingertips of common masses. I have seen in J&K, particularly in Kashmir, despite the recent flurry, which has devastated, rather distracted, almost everything. But still more than 60% of the people are well equipped with smartphones, desktops, laptops, and tablet phones. It is our motive that we should not restrict our service to CSCs just to benefit some 2,000 unemployed youth. But contrary to that, we should keep a balance and chalk out a strategy so that every individual should feel that his hands are connected with the governance. That's what is the purposeful meaning of mGovernance. Since we have taken independence long ago, but still a lot is to be done to maintain the complete azadi. For this I want to say, maybe it is for elite as well. अंधेरों से डरे क्यों दिल हमारा, बहुत रोशन है मुस्तकबल हमारा. मुस्तकबल मीन्स फ्यूचर. न देखेंगे चमन को बर्बाद हुए कि इसमें शामिल है खून हमारा. चमन मीन्स ऑफ कंट्री, इसमें शामिल है खून हमारा. Anyway, thanks for organizing this mega event. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Akbarji, for a very improvising kind of factual description of how e-governance has taken off in J&K and how we are pushing further ahead towards mGovernance models. There are a lot of things which actually involve implementation of mGovernance, but there are very serious steps being taken by the Government of India in this behalf, especially with the launch of certain programs of the likes of mYojana, in which it's basically an SMS-based service which is provided on mobile for bringing government services available at the doorstep of a common man to provide anywhere, anytime service through mobile phones in rural areas. And this was a business model, a PPP-based model in which 20-80 kind of ratio was devised, and in which 50% funding for software application was done by government, and PPP partner had to basically look into the application part of it through mobile services delivery gateway. And this kind of thing, basically application tries to bridge the gap of information about various schemes which is very, very important. So mobile-based application in which there is a toll-free number and vernacular languages-based solutions are given to the people, like we are talking these days about a very popular and a very successful thing, which is basically Kisan Helpline, through which the agriculture-based economy of India is getting benefited. So these kinds of things are very much in place and things are happening at a much faster pace. Before taking much time, I believe very soon we'll have Union Minister for Railways here. I will pass on the mic to Director Tourism, Government of Goa, Mr. Amya Abhyankar, who is Special Secretary Finance also in addition to that, and I believe he can throw a very good perspective of about how they are switching over to mGovernance models. So Mr. Amya, please take over.
I'd like to thank the moderator for today's conference, today's session, dignitaries on the dais and esteemed colleagues. I'll keep my delivery very short and simple because I know we are running against time and also this is the graveyard shift as we speak. So, well, just to give you a perspective, presently all over the world we have around 1.78 billion smartphone users. Out of that, in India presently we have roughly more than 117 million smartphone users. By the end of 2019 we'll have 652 million smartphone users. So we are actually going to overtake the United States of America and come somewhere close to China. By the end of 2015, 9 out of 10 travel consumers in the world will have a mobile subscription. 92% of travelers in the world, their choices of travel are heavily influenced by social media and mobile applications which are travel based. 52% determine their travel plans based on social media and mobile applications. And $40 billion is the present size of the mobile application driven travel trade market. These are statistics drawn from World Travel Mart, AC Nielsen and a plethora of other surveys. Now when I come down to tourism in Goa, Goa, as you all know, presently gets around 5 million tourists every year, out of which 4.5 million tourists are domestic tourists and about 500,000 are international foreign tourists. Having said that, there is a lot of potential. In fact, if one looks at the tourism sector, increasingly we are, shedding the e-governance skin and coming into the m-governance skin, given the statistics that I've just shared with you. Now, as a tourism department in Goa, things which would interest me and excite me on the m-governance are basically segmented into 3 categories. One is, if I look primarily as a government department, what are the services which I can provide on a mobile platform? So in Goa, the tourism department is basically implementing 2 major legislations. One is the Tourist Trade Act of 1982 and the second is the Tourist Places Protection and Maintenance Act 2001. Under the Registration Act, I am supposed to act as a licensing authority for different kinds of tourist trade. So the Department of Tourism has partnered with GEL, and very soon, in about a couple of months' time, hopefully by the beginning of August or the end of August, we should have an e-licensing system in place, which we will, in which we will have 2 VFS-like Seva Kendras, where you can, so you have an offline model for those who are not tech savvy, and then you also have an online registration, where you fill up an application form. Everything is done online, including printing of your certificate is also online, so you don't need to come to my office. And hopefully we should be able to port this onto a mobile application, say about 6 months after we launch this service. So also m-governance can help us to set up some kind of a Twitter-like system within offices, so that different verticals within my office are talking to each other, are simultaneously updated about their different subject matters and what are the tasks for the day and things like that. So I think this is something where m-governance can make routine administrative tasks a little more interesting and flamboyant. Apart from that, from a consumer point of view, which is really the market that I'm looking at, the first thing that I think we need to have in place in Goa is a Wi-Fi setup, which is not there. So the tourism department is very actively trying to come up with a free Wi-Fi service, hopefully, if you're able to get the revenue model right, for the entire coastal stretch, because that's where I get the maximum number of tourists. And then slowly I plan to universalize this facility as a department to other important tourist attractions all over Goa. So this would spread into the hinterland, into places of religious importance, into the waterways, so on and so forth. Apart from that, it's also very important then to, once the enabling environment is created, to then bring on certain genre of tourism products and services, because people today are searching on social media, on the internet, on mobile devices for itineraries, things to do, places to visit, restaurants to eat, places to buy, and they also want something where a value for money product or service emerges out of this search. So if you presently look at the way different kinds of search engines or sites are presently structured, you find that you have a large amount of information which you require to sort out, you require to make intelligible, and it's only then that you can make sense of it. So we are looking to build products which will be like a marketplace, like an event aggregator, which will basically provide information to users who are visiting Goa before they visit, during their visit, and after their visit. We are also looking to build a feedback mechanism. This feedback mechanism will help us to identify gaps which exist in infrastructure, which exist in services, some kind of grievances which people face. So these will help us to upscale and improve the quality of our tourism services in the days to come. The third thing we want to do is issue alerts. I'll give you an example. About 1.5 months back, there was a situation where a large number of jellyfish washed up onto the beach. Now, this is a time when you don't really want to venture out into the water. So suppose if I have a system where I'm able to provide a free Wi-Fi connection to somebody, the only criteria being he has to come in through a Goa tourism app. And if I have about 2.5 million users on that platform, I can push out alerts. So alerts when the sea is rough, alerts if, for example, a particular artery of, in terms of their movement, a particular artery is choked, so they should seek a diversion. So this is a very useful platform for me to push out alerts, to push out relevant information which a tourist should keep in mind from the point of view of his safety and security. Apart from that, accommodation and travel. This is where a marketplace is important. A large number of bed and breakfast or homestay establishments in Goa require to be curated, require to be put together in a way which becomes interesting for an end user to read, to discern, and to book, and finally come and occupy. So I think, largely speaking, on 4 counts, if we get our infra right, if we are able to structure the right pricing solution, we are able to develop good content and finally have a proper aggregation, not by reinventing the wheel, but by culling or mining data from existing data sets which already exist on the internet. I think very exciting growth prospects and a very exciting future as far as mGovernance in Goa, particularly in the tourism sector, is concerned. Thank you very much.
That's a wonderful description, and I believe a lot of people among us are tourists primarily in Goa. So we would feel much excited about the details you have divulged that way. And now moving further, I would say, because much time is not at our disposal, but before that I would like to share a few facts. E-governance revolution is given a natural pathway towards mGovernance. That's why we are now talking about M models. One thing is for sure, whatever we do, whatever we say, we have to switch over parallelly alongside on the M-based applications and models, because we can't exist everywhere, even the central government models, railways for that matter. Honorable Minister will be there to throw more light upon it. Whenever the budget is there, everything is announced, everybody is watching and listening. If some amendment in IRCTC is happening, is that applicable on the M base as well? And I tell you, the day when it was divulged to the public that you can show the SMS, you can go paperless inside the trains, I believe this came as a big boost. People got a big relief, because this had again become a point of exploitation, and for many obvious reasons. So everybody these days prefers, even in a small that base model of Nokia or Samsung, any mobile phone, you will have that SMS. So SMS does wonders. So that's where we believe now M is inevitable. The sooner it happens, the better it is. Numerous n number of models have successfully been launched regarding mobile governance, and especially in the banking sector, especially in the healthcare sector and tourism sector, as Amya was very rightly talking about. We can't survive without it. I believe whole tourism travel industry is thriving and surviving on it. Honorable Governor Goa, Her Excellency Ma'am was yesterday sharing an example, if we all can recall, that her son said that, used to tell her that, Mom, your ticket is booked. In early 90s, I believe, sitting here only, and she used to scream, what are you saying? Are you mad? Go to the airport and get the ticket. That too, ticket for US. So this is where actually, you know, that gap is getting bridged. And though that was the example ma'am gave, I believe, regarding e-gov revolution in 90s. Now we are talking at the click again, just touch of tap of one thing on, and whole transaction takes place, SMS comes, everything comes. So this is what actually is the convenience, and same with the mobile banking. But yes, alongside, we must understand the challenges which M models have. So that is also one of the things we should not usually ignore or negate. Let's listen more about it and know from our esteemed panelist about this particular thing. Mr. Krishna will throw more light upon this thing, and then we will conclude the session.
Good evening, all fellow panelists, and good evening to all of you. I would like to make a brief presentation about the launch of mobile governance in Government of Karnataka. So, as from the discussion, it is evident that now it's undoubtedly it's era of mobile governance now, and as the TRI data itself suggests that to be on a conservative side also, it's around 85 to 90 crore mobile users are there, and around 25 crores internet users are there. So now, like, it has become a felt need that why for the service delivery, when so many other like organizations, they are using the mobile for the service delivery, why not the government, they are using the mobile platform for the service delivery? Why one should wait at the queue, standing at the common service center or any integrated service center, though he or she is having a mobile with itself? So now this need is knocking at the door itself, and now it's a high time that everyone has to take initiative for the mobile governance. As the term itself is self-explanatory, what does mobile governance mean? Any kind of governance in its any manifestation, though a government which it wants to send it to its citizens, it's through mobile. So before that, I would like to tell you about the mobile governance app which has been launched by the government of Karnataka. It's a kind of first project in the country, and it has been launched by Honorable President of India on 8th December, and by IMI it has been certified as the world's largest multi-channel mobile delivery platform. So what the app has been, it's not only app, it's through mobile app only, it's IVR based also, it's USSD based also. So all kind of mobile customers we have aimed at to render so that they can avail the benefits of the mobile governance. So as its objective itself states that it's anytime, anywhere, anyhow, and it's like irrespective of any socio-economic position, any language, any kind of literacy status, whatever services you want to avail, this mobile one is ready for any kind of solution you want. And apart from this government G2C services, means from government to citizen services, lot of vast services also we are providing. So briefly I will show you this app and what kind of services is available with this mobile one. Like push services available, like only SMS and IVR, push based informational services if you want to send, if government intends to send it to citizens. Then pull informational services are available. All kind of utility bill payments, which earlier you have to go to service center, citizen service center, common service center, or to department itself, that is also available on mobile. A lot of data capture services are available, and then third-party value-added services are also available there. Some of the examples of the services which are available, like in case of push services, these ticketing services are there. Commodity price, if any farmer want to seek from the APMC, it is available there. Weather alerts are available. Similarly, payment services like all utility bill payment services, property tax payment, traffic violation fine payment. So that level of integration we are having with the back-end departments for this mobile one. And the best thing is that payment options, all kind of payment options are available from IMPS, internet banking and all. So the number of government to citizen services, especially total government services, including government to citizen, government to business, G2G, around 658 government services we are providing, and around 364 this value-added services from the third parties there on the this mobile one platform. These are some category of services like utilities, banking, police, healthcare, transport, telecom. These are the category of services which we are providing. These are our government departments which are there onboarded on the mobile one. And these are our vast service providers. This is the way to reach to Karnataka mobile one. Any of you all across the country, irrespective of the irrespective of the telecom circle, you can just give a missed call to this number, and you will get the all details of this mobile one app, where like how to download it on Android, how to download it on iOS, and then this URL is also there for the mobile one, and then website is also there, and help desk support is also there. So briefly, just what presently is needed from so far in case of this, from the traditional which e-governance services which are having. Earlier the starting point was that a citizen has to go to department itself. Then this CSC came in picture that okay, now department is not there, citizen service centers are there to facilitate them at the nearest point. Now the next step is that from their mobile option itself they should be in a position to get the service which is intended to be delivered. So few challenges which during the rollout of the project which we have seen is that first thing is that the e-readiness of the departments, the back-end departments, that is must. So there should be a general consent within all the departments that okay, we want to give full support to the mobile delivery platform, and whatever modifications or changes or whatever effort from the side of the particular department, because a lot of department governments many times they work in silos. Like they suppose you say that this is the option available, so they will not show that kind of inclination towards using that option. So a lot of groundwork has to be needed for all departments to bring them on board that please use this platform, it would be beneficial anyhow. Second thing is that now with lot of e-governance initiatives that exclusivity is a big problem. So without because any model should be financially and viable and sustainable from the vendor's point of view as well as from the government's point of view. From government funding, any project can't sustain for a long time. So for that, if other channels are also available. So suppose if there is only one particular this web-based app is available, so all departments should use for any kind of service delivery. Department, they can focus at their core job of other core job, but for service delivery, they should particularly assign that thing only. Like for all kind of service delivery, it has to be done through web or app. It should be only mobile one should be used. So that kind of general consensus need to be built around the department. And so these are the things which initially are required, and a lot of groundwork is required to get that app running. And now so far we have around 1.5 lakh downloads. We have received 1.5 lakh downloads on Android and iOS, and around 3 crore hits we have got. Thanks. Any question for that?
No, it's fine. Anyways, yeah. So thanks to Mr. Krishna also for throwing an insight about how things are happening in Karnataka and what are the challenges e-governance followed by mGovernance is facing in a very advanced stage so far as digital revolution is concerned. Karnataka has always led from the front so far as this side is concerned. So I believe this session of mGovernance threw light on different perspectives, different shades of what mobile governance is all about, how things are happening in different sectors of the economy, especially the way Madam explained about how revenue department can undergo sweeping changes if you have the will to bring about changes. Obviously, everything starts with e-governance, and parallelly, you keep on testing, you keep on experimenting with mGovernance. Yes, to a common man, I would say this plays a wonderful role when it comes to very, very simple SMS-based services. Whenever even I am supposed to give some kind of suggestions to various government departments, because in J&K couple of years back I also specialized especially in the e-governance domain for pretty long 1 year from one of the institutes IIMs. So I keep on suggesting that let's start up, make a very humble beginning. Let's not jump towards giving the platforms, because to sustain with those platforms is more important rather than just launching the services. So it's great to know that you are going in a stepwise progression so far as Goa state is concerned. As rightly told by ma'am also and Amya ji also, in tourism, they are going step by step. And as he rightly pointed out, in Karnataka there are certain things happening, but the takeoff is a bit slow, shifting over to the mobile platform. In J&K, yes, we are going through it, as Akbarji rightly told you about various kinds of kitty of services which they are offering through e-governance, and very soon the M models will be out. But a word of caution, it's not always that you will hit instant success with the M governance models. But here we can see a few examples also. There are certain services which are direly needed by the people, and if you simplify them, if you make them more transparent, more accessible, and within the reach of people in an instant manner, like we used to call about instant noodles or instant coffee. Mobile solutions are like that, but that ought to have some taste as well as some flavor also. Otherwise, you may miss the bus. So that is where the key of success lies. Different kinds of stakeholders are sitting here, belonging to different sets of services. Our colleagues, some seniors and others, even from the government sector. We have some people from the corporate sector. We have a lot of people from the banking sector. And even financial inclusion has a direct connect with mGovernance. That's what I personally believe. Earlier also in various seminars and conferences on financial inclusion, I have been emphatically telling that mobiles have to be made a part of this revolution. And already bankers have done a great advancement, online money transfer or online payments or usage of credit cards. Yesterday there was a very good discussion going on usage of RuPay. We were listening to that cautiously. There are many things which are related to M revolution, but everything requires a deep introspections, because you can't have similar kind of things for all kinds of places. Customization is very much required. Although I would just, before closing, I would name few of the successful M models which have done wonders across, and they need to be replicated all across, but again with the customization. I was just talking about some kind of models like Hello Sakhi or Bell Bajao. You can see these ones. Aju Varta, Kisan Sanchar, Nano Ganesh, CG Net Swara, CG Net, then Kumari Bank, then maternal health services of different states, then M Pustak, Text Web, then Kisan Raja, then Tele Doctor. I am talking Tele Doctor is a service in Pakistan. and then mobile meter. Then there are many services, you name and you have it across the globe. Very good successful governance models, be it from the sector relating to finance, transfer of money, be it related to travel. You have those travel, surprisingly, in the corporate side, you have those travel portals which have launched applications or Android-based applications doing much better than conventional ones. Even I believe IRCTC's model is doing really well. So everywhere, even passport seva, it's become so simpler, like at few taps, you will just get that, receipt and everything, and then SMS is also linked up. Passport seva gives you that facility these days. Through, obviously, TCS is executing it very successfully across the country. So this way, these kinds of services have become so easier, even in our J&K. I would like to quote an example. Earlier also, I have mentioned few times, in municipal corporations, we have successfully launched that building operation, that permissions, BOCA. There's a committee which basically gives you permission for starting any kind of construction activity. So for that, you have to have 7 mandatory permissions. Earlier, what used to happen that you had to go from one door to another door, one office to another office, and that is a big painstaking thing, as it happens in revenue and other places. But some time back, that particular thing got eradicated. We launched basically a mobile-based service through which now SMS alert goes to the person whenever you simply have to file your application online, and whenever the permission is being granted step by step, you get SMSs, and final SMS comes when everything gets cleared. So you don't have to go approach even a single office for getting the things done, and if it is not done, then also SMS comes with the reason that this particular thing. So this kind of service even got recognized by the Union Ministry also, and that got awarded also. So these kinds of initiatives definitely get a push and encouragement and a replication effect also, provided they are taken with the right intent and with the right approach. So with these particular words, I would like to conclude the session and thank all my fellow panelists for throwing a light upon how mGovernance and era of mGovernance is in the making, and we are very much sure that the future belongs to mGovernance, but it will take some time, but for sure it will see the light of the day very soon. Thank you for giving your patient hearing as well. Yeah. Karthik, we have time for some QA? Okay, thank you for giving us. Yeah, please pass on the mic to the ones who want to ask some questions.
Hi, my name is Gautam Goradia. My question is addressed to Mr. Abhyankar. Nothing to do with mGovernance. Incidentally, you share your first name with the railway minister's son, and his son and my daughter, they studied in school together. So my question to you is very simple. Goa being such an attractive tourist destination, one of the challenges that you constantly have to be very careful about is security. One incident is enough to cast aspersions and spoil the name, so to speak, of an entire state and its people. What specific measures do you take to ensure that you have modern systems working, and where do you see this going, especially after the case that took place in Fab India with one of our ministers? Thanks.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, you have raised 3-4 issues. I will address them one by one. One is regarding general safety and security of tourists. So security of tourists, we already have a police force in Goa, both onshore and offshore. So they take care of the security aspects. Specific to tourists, we have a tourist security force, a tourist police force, which is one company strength under the tourism department, who are deployed along all the beaches. So They are deployed on the beaches and on the prominent tourist locations. Apart from that, as far as safety of tourists are concerned, we have a force of 655 lifeguards, which are deployed across the coastline of Goa. And last year, we rescued 472 people. Almost 40% of them were foreign nationals. So, as far as the electronic mode of security is concerned, yes, under the shack policy, all shacks are required to have CCTV cameras. Plus, all business establishments are also supposed to have CCTV cameras. On the beaches, maybe in about 6 to 8 months' time before the start of the next season, we should have a CCTV surveillance on most of the important beaches. So, apart from that, some time back I spoke about the alert system. So, if we are able to come up with a Wi-Fi model which is accessible to public easily with minimum cost, we can even have a panic button system which can help to isolate on a geotagging basis the location of that person and try and see if we can build a quick response to that. But these are at a concept stage. They will require detailing. They will require money to be in place. Apart from that, when we talk of surveillance, we almost always must remember one more thing, that Goa is a tourist destination. People who come on the beach also spend many intimate moments on the beach. So we have to strike the right balance between respecting individual privacy, at the same time safeguarding his security. There have been many cases in the past of misuse of these devices, one of which you have pointed out. In the Delhi metro also there have been several cases. So technology always is invasive, but we have to protect the privacy of the individual. So I think if we are able to structure a technology platform which takes into account this potential misuse, then I think we can have a system in which privacy of the individual and his experience on the beach is also respected on any tourist place, and at the same time his safety and his well-being is ensured. Thank you.
Just to add on one particular thing, as Amya ji has rightly said, there are certain things which are human biases or human errors or some deliberate attempts. Even you may have the most robust system in place in the world, but there are certain things which are beyond, human control, because when a criminal has a bent of mind to do some kind of act which is against the public good, that person will do whatever ramifying effects it will have. In fact, that is going to help us to improve the systems in the longer run. And I still remember I was there when he was making a presentation about the same thing and quoted Fab India thing. So he is very rightly asking the thing, but I believe he must have got the answer with the kind of wonderful work which Goa Tourism and Goa Tourism Police has done. So this is how we also get clues about how things are happening and how to improve and improvise upon the systems. Yeah, you please ask the question.
Good evening. I'm Manish Tiwari. I'm the National Information Security Officer of Microsoft Corporation India. Can you...
Voice?
Yeah. Good evening. My name is Manish Tiwari. I'm the National Information Security Officer India for Microsoft Corporation. I speak as a general citizen. So my question is in use. Help an individual, a normal, ordinary citizen, to not only track what is happening to his application through SMS and intimation, but also, in case a certain amount of process were to get delayed, then he or she knows that, this is abnormal.
Thanks for that question. We do have well-defined timelines. In fact, we have in Goa what is called the Service Delivery Guarantee System. So far, of course, partition and conversion are not part of it, but we have suggested to the government to include it because we are already in a state of readiness for it. Just to briefly describe, since you have asked the question, once the application is inwarded, the concerned clerk is supposed to verify it, and within 7 days, he or she is supposed to give it the unique ID number and immediately transfer the information to the applicant. If it is complete in all respects, it is to be accepted, or else the lacuna is supposed to be pointed out by way of SMS. So an SMS is generated by the system. You just need to enter the basic data that this is what is missing in your application. So do come and just rectify that so that we can process your application further. Subsequently, once the application, so this is the timeline of 7 days, which is a week. After this, we have given a time limit of 15 days for issuing of all the notices and beginning of the court hearing process, because both partition and conversion are actually quasi-judicial in nature. So it requires application of mind by the revenue authority concerned, especially so in the case of partition. So there is a period of 15 days within which once it gets that unique ID number, which means that it is complete in all respects, within 15 days the notices have to be issued and the first court hearing has to be scheduled. Now we have not subsequently kept a particular time limit for the court hearings to conclude, because it's a revenue court and it's a quasi-judicial function, so there might be complex issues which come up, especially in the case of partition. So we have given that freedom to the revenue authority because we thought that it would be a little unfair to impose a limit on a quasi-judicial function. So that is still an area where there could be some consumption of time. But once the decision is taken by the Deputy Collector, then within 7 days the Deputy Collector is meant to transmit that information to the Survey and Settlement Department, and within 15 days from the receipt of that application in their inbox, the Survey and Settlement Department is supposed to upload its survey report. And once the survey report is uploaded, then the Deputy Collector is to make the order final. So all in all, we have made this well publicized as well. We have told the public that these are the timelines right at the time of inauguration. So public knows that within 3 to 4 months, and this is a process at each step. So especially a lot of delay was happening in the very initial stage. Applications would be received by the dealing clerk and just kept on hold for various reasons, which I don't want to get into in detail. So this is the best method which I can think of to curb at a very elementary level any type of discretion.
So, ma'am, if I may make a suggestion,
Yes.
Unless it is already there, you may consider making a very detailed documentation on the process and keeping it on the website, because there is a reasonable amount of documentation already available. Unless this document is already there, that's the problem is solved. If not, very detailed guidelines, if it could be uploaded on the Goa government portal, that would be a big help.
That's a great suggestion.
For an ordinary citizen.
That's a great suggestion. I had issued detailed orders to my deputy collectors. A copy of the same in a public-friendly fashion can be definitely uploaded on the website. Thanks a lot for that
suggestion. That would be
suggestion.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Any other question? So I believe we can now formally close the session. Thanks once again. And it's wonderful, actually. We were made to understand that Honorable Union Railways Minister will come in any time. So that's why I just closed it down. Yeah. So as he already said that he is now here. So anyways, thanks. And I believe you all stakeholders will be part of our governance revolution, because it's inevitable. We all should keep on working, striving towards it, and we all should definitely become the change agents in making it possible. So thanks once again, one and all.
And it was a thank you very much, sir. And it was last session, but I think one of the most interactive and fruitful sessions of both the days. Thank you very much to the moderator Amit Sharma, Special Secretary Government of Jammu and Kashmir, and also key panelists in this session. I will now request Mr. Amit Sharma to present mementos to our honorable panelists on stage. And if we start with Srimati Neela Mohanan, DM of North Goa. A round of applause for Mrs. Neela Mohanan. Then Mr. Ameya Abhayankar, Director Tourism, Government of Goa. Our esteemed guest from Karnataka, Shri Krishna Bajpai, Director, Department of E-Governance, Government of Karnataka. E-Governance last issue was focused on the same project which you talked about, sir. And I also request Shri Muhammad Akbar Wani, Chief Executive Officer, Jammu and Kashmir, E-Governance Agency, Government of Jammu and Kashmir. I request Amit Sharma sir to kindly present a memento to Mr. Wani. Jakeja is also a partner with this event. And at the end, our dynamic moderator and always very inspiring personality, Amit Sharma. I request Mr. Amay Abhankar, Director Tourism, Government of Goa, to present a memento to Mr. Amit Sharma, and to be followed by a group photo with the mementos in hand that will beautify the photo more. Yeah, that will be great. If you just, I request my events team to clean the tables. Gagan, please clean the tables because our Honorable Minister of Railways has already arrived and at the venue.